And howdy do, y'all. It's time to Beer Whisper, and I am revisiting a classic. Well, I say revisiting. Oddly enough, I've never done a video for this beer. I should have done. This is one of the early craft beers, and I've been drinking it for, well, a while, a couple decades anyway. As a classic, 5.6, 38 are the stats on it. A little small by today's standards statistically for an APA, but again, I mean, this is a classic beer. So I'm going to read a little bit from their bottle. In 1980, we created a beer highlighting the bold pine and citrus flavors of Whole Cone Cascade hops. Today, our all-natural bottle-conditioned pale ale is recognized worldwide as a classic. It's got a beautiful copper color. Let's see, Sierra Nevada Pale Ale is completely natural ale, brewed with finest malted barley, whole cone hops, brewer's yeast, and pure water. Each bottle is conditioned naturally, creating unique and flavorful ale. Well, that it is. I'm not going to wax on about tasting notes. I mean, I'm not a beer reviewer anyway, and this beer really has been reviewed to death at this point. I want to just talk about the beer. Although I'll tell you, I say that, then I'm going to tell you about the beer. Aromas are very nice. They're not overwhelming. They're not huge, but they are pleasant, as well as the flavor. Sometimes I get frustrated by younger beer snobs, beer geeks, whatever they choose to call themselves, that don't understand a classic beer like this. A lot of these kids have grown up with the great selection of beer that we have available to us. So they drink a beer like this, go, meh. You know, this, to me, this isn't an average beer. No, it doesn't have the specific flavors of a pale ale like many craft brewers are doing a pale ale today. But again, this is a classic, and it should be revered as a classic, in my opinion. I think a lot of folks that just dismiss this as an average beer really aren't paying attention to the history of craft beer. And I think a lot of the case is they don't understand the flavor profile. I think they're so used to things tasting a certain way today that they don't understand the classic flavor profile of an American Pale Ale. They don't understand the history. And sometimes to understand something, you have to know the history of it. Is this the largest American Pale Ale? No, it's not. I mean, there are some that they're lighter in body. There are many that, you know, 38. As I say, 38 IBUs, 36 IBUs. Who remembers? It is a little lighter on IBU than most are these days. I think it'd be a good starting point. It'd be a very good starting point for beginning craft beer drinkers, though. I mean, this is a nice classic pale ale. It's you know, it's kind of brewing 101. It shows you how a classic American pale ale is done. You know, when that New Albion made a comeback a couple years ago when Sam Adams redid that beer. You know, some folks thought the same about that it was just kind of average, kind of there. I thought the exact opposite. I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was brewing perfection. No, the flavors weren't huge, but everything was put together right, and I think that's something that gets missed. I think everybody these days, especially younger craft beer drinkers, are looking for such huge flavor profiles that they're not paying attention to the subtleties. It's the, oh wow, the little things that make a beer great. In this case, the finish is slightly bitter at the end. It's a little malty all the way through, and then you've got that bitter. It's a little piney, but not overly so. It's just put together perfectly. So anyways, that's all I'm going to wax on about now, because quite frankly, I'm roasting my chestnuts off out here. It's wrecking hot. So I'm time to Beer Whisper. I'll talk to you later.